This is the world-class Adidas Arena, which made its name during the Olympic Games last year. Now, the host venue for the TotalEnergies BWF World Championships, where 383 players from 53 nations and member associations are gathered here for this superb competition. As we enter now the business end of the tournament, we are at the quarterfinal stage. This is session 2 and court 2, our order of play for this evening. We start with women's singles. An Se-young, the defending champion, she takes on the top seed from Korea, her compatriot, the 12th seed, Yu Jin, who's the Asian Championships bronze medalist. In the men's singles, the men's defending champion, 3rd seed from Thailand, Kunlavan Vititan. He plays a 5th seed from Indonesia, Jonathan Christie, who was last year's All-England champion. More Indonesians on display in the women's doubles. The 10th seeds, Febriana Dwi Puji Kusuma and Amalia Cahaya Pratiwi. They were the 2024 Taipei Open winners. They play Rin Iwanaga and Kie Nakanishi, the 9th seeds from Japan, who won the Denmark Open in 2024. To the men's doubles, round things off, Takuro Hoki and Yugo Kobayashi, 13 seeds from Japan and world champions in 2021. They play Kim Astrup and Anders Skarup Rasmussen, the 5th seeds from Denmark, who won silver at the last World Championships. And to cap things off, it's more men's doubles, Chen Bo-young and Liu Yi, the 11th seeds from China, the 2025 Asian Championship silver medalists. They play last year's bronze medalists of the same competition from Chinese Taipei, the 16th seeds, Li Jiehui and Yang Po-xuan. Fantastic matches on offer. Get comfortable. And we start with that women's singles. Both places in that part of the draw still up for grabs. Akane Yamaguchi looking for a 3rd world championship. She plays Putri Kusuma Wardani. And the winner of this match will play either Chen Yufei or Ponpawi Chochuwong. That match will be on court 1. Well, with me here in the commentary position is Bobby Griffin, who's working very hard today. He was here for part of the morning session, the first session today. Bob, what are your thoughts of what we've seen so far? Take us through some of the highlights for you.
Well, first up, Victor Lai. I mean, wow. Canada's first and only medal at the World Championships in any of the disciplines. The men's singles player beating Lo Qianyu. First thing this morning on court 1 is a massive result. Yeah. I think Chinese mixed doubles performances today have been very good, very solid indeed. Straight games wins for Zhang Jinbang and Wei Yashin over the Malaysians. And then a very comfortable match that we had on court 2 with Gua Jinhua and Chen Fangwei beating Midori Kara and Saito. So that was good. Yamaguchi was in great form. A very surprising performance by Han Yue, her opponent, especially in the opening game.
That first game, right? Yamaguchi
won 21-5. It was bizarre, but you know, well played. Masayama and Shida did well, beating Kim and Kong comfortably as well. Tan and Tina looked good. The Stueva sisters were absolutely no match for them today as well. So yeah, it's been a great day of action. Shi Yuqi just too good for Wang Hongyang, his countryman as well. So the top seed through in the men's singles there to the semi-finals. And perhaps most importantly, especially for this home crowd here in Paris, Jikel and Delru. Straight games over the 12 seeds, but a really exciting and up-and-coming Chinese mixed doubles duo. It would have made 3 Chinese mixed doubles pairs in the semis to dispatch them in straight games. And the way they did it, they were so positive. The crowd, honestly, the roof nearly came off the Adidas Arena this morning. Well, early afternoon by then when we witnessed that. And it was just phenomenal. And how good for France and how good for Europe to have players in the semi-finals tomorrow.
And also, Bobby, someone we've worked on quite a lot this week, PV Sindhu, her tournament comes to an end, but you know, after the exertions of beating a Wang Zhiyi, Putri Kusuma Wardani proved a step too far.
Yeah, maybe maybe there was a bit of mental exhaustion in there. I mean, Wardani's a quality player, got off to a great start in that match. It was a good turnaround in the second for PV Sindhu, but I just think she ran out of lungs, ran out of legs, ran out of ideas towards the end. And yeah, credit to Wardani, because Sindhu was on a real tear this week.
So we look forward to the matches coming up on Court 2. Court 1 is just about to get things underway with Anders Antonsen versus Cho Tian-Chen in the men's singles. We've got women's singles, remember. An Se-young against Sim Yu Jin is our first match. There we go. An all-Korean affair. Now, Bobby, looking at this, you know, you'd think, oh, she's by far the best badminton player, women's badminton player in the world. But sometimes when you play an internal, a domestic match, as it were, home versus home, that can go out the window, right?
Yeah, it can slightly, because you'd expect these two to have met a lot of times in training. So Sim Yu Jin will be perhaps more familiar than many to have experienced what it's like to face An Se-young across the net. And she's also a big game player, a big tournament player.
They last met at the China Open. 4-1, An Se-young leads the head-to-head. Just a few weeks ago, An Se-young won that pretty comfortably in straight games.
Receive, serve, with side.
And the one win that Sim Yu Jin had was the first time they met, and that was a long time ago in 2018 when she was just a young teenager then, An Se-young. Sim Yu Jin won that in straights since then, 4 straight wins.
Interesting there that Sim Yu Jin wins the toss and does not elect an end of the court. And allows An Se-young straight away to decide to swap sides. She wanted to start the match at the bottom of our screens nearest us, and it's pretty endy the last 2 days. Last night in particular, well, there's drift out there, particularly left and right.
We'll come back to that. Here's An Se-young, 23 years of age, 170 centimeters tall, from the southern part of Korea in Gwangju, and by far, at the moment, I think it's fair to say, the top women's player around, the Olympic champion, the world champion. She's the Asian Games champion. Asian Championships in 2023, she finished second, and in 22, she finished third. There's those medals from the world champs I talked about, bronze in 2022, and a whopping, by far the most on the tour, 29 titles on the HSBC BWF World Tour. In superb form, has not dropped a game yet. And look at those results. 2025 alone, 6 titles on the World Tour. Sim Yu Jin is older at 26, slightly taller as well, a 172 from the capital Seoul, playing at her highest ever ranking. Asian Championships this year, perhaps surprising a few, she got a bronze. And on the HSBC BWF World Tour, 1 title, the Taipei Open last year, beating Putri Kusuma Wardani, who's into the semi-finals already. There's her World Championship record recently. So this is by far her best run. And this year she got to the finals of the Indonesia Masters, losing to Ratchanok Intanon. Also has not dropped a game so far. What a result that was against Tunjung, the 7th seed, and only 31 minutes. Fabio Berto from Italy is our umpire. And from the Netherlands, Paul Marco de Keper. Looking at the seasons that both of these players have had. Sim Yu Jin got to the Indonesia Masters final, a couple of semis at Asia Championships and the Taipei Open, a quarter-final at the Thailand Masters, and 4 second-round exits, All England, China, Japan, and Thailand Opens, as well as the All-England Masters. So not a great...
Ladies and gentlemen,
many tournaments that she's gone deep into.
Sim Yu Jin, Korea.
An Se-young has only failed to make 2 finals this year. That's the China Open, which she got to the semis,
Korea,
and the quarterfinals of the Singapore Open. That's how good a year she's had. 95% win rate.
It's incredible, it really is. Sim Yu Jin, that Asian Championship semi-final is really significant. That is a massive result. She had to beat Wang Zhiyi on the way to that. She dispatched Yu Pian-chan, who had a good week here this week. She comfortably beat Nadira, and it wasn't until Chen Yufei met her that she went out in the semis. But that was a really good week for her. You'll remember this because you and I were there, sat next to each other commentating. 2022 Yuba Cup. China and Korea in the women's team event final. It's 2-all, and it was Sim Yu Jin who
Okuhara, I think it was, that she played, right?
Well, it was China.
Oh, sorry, China, excuse me.
Wang Zhiyi.
Wang Zhiyi, yeah.
And we know how brilliant she's been over the course of the last year or two as well. It was Sim Yu Jin who won the Yuba Cup for Korea, beating Wang Zhiyi 21-8 in the third, and it was a magnificent... One of the matches in the middle there, Hebing Zhao and Kim Gae-eun, was where you and I almost leapt down the stands with excitement. Or was that the semi-final, perhaps, that we got a bit excited?
Yeah.
Where Kim Gae-eun, that's right, she was playing Japan. They beat Japan 3-0 in the semis. Anyway,
but it was a good result anyway.
The Yuba Cup then was brilliant, and it was Sim Yu Jin. What a big game player that is. So do it for your country. So, yeah, I mean, she's got a chance here today, but it's a slim chance because An Se-young is dominating women's singles in a way that I don't think necessarily we can say that about any of the other disciplines at the moment.
Right.
As long as she's been doing it. So, yes, Seo Seung-jae and Kim Won-ho are at the top of the tree in the men's doubles and deserve to be there. They've been brilliant. Mixed doubles, yes. Women's doubles, Tan and Liu, yes, but those guys have only been doing that for
shorter
6 months, 12 months.
Yeah.
She's been the best women's singles player for a matter of years now.
Yeah.
And it's really sort of taken this discipline by the scruff of the neck.
Since you've been covering badminton, Bobby, have you seen anyone dominate their particular discipline, or in singles, should we say? In women's, should we start with?
Yeah, I was going to say Chen Qingchen and Jia Yifan in women's doubles.
That's why I quickly changed that,
It's the world record, the amount of weeks. We're going into years that they stayed at world #1. So, yes, and they won everything. They won all the titles and Olympics and so many world championship gold medals too. So, but in women's singles, it's been a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some great players that have... it's different. Would you rather be the #1 in the world for 2 years, or not have made #1 but be world champion, or more importantly Olympic champion? And I think an Olympic gold medal says
that
more.
trumps it all, right?
Yeah, and then world championship medals, and then perhaps you'd argue about being world #1.
Well, she's gone long a few times, Sim Yu Jin, in these early stages, and the points are racking up quickly here.
Lift was a little bit short, the initial one from Sim.
There you go.
Effortlessly out the back with the backhand. I'm interested to see how the early stages pans out in terms of the conditions out here, because we haven't had An Se-young on this court very much this week. Whether there's that much difference in the conditions between courts 1 and 2 today, I'm not sure, but the drift has been changing throughout the week significantly last night. I was speaking to Thomas Junior Popov at the hotel after his match last night. He sat and had a chat with myself and Steen for quite a while, struggling with the shuttle moving in the air, left to right. So as his opponent was just sort of clipping it back into court from late in the court, and Thomas just wanted to cross it, block, you know. He struggled to pick up where the shuttle was going to land and get a clean timing on it, and it was time after time. So these players are really having to work hard at the moment here with these conditions.
So that was court 1, a sideways drift.
An Se-young challenges called
I mean, I think it's the same on court 2. It is moving around. It doesn't seem to be a very clear and obvious sort of, it's going to shift the shuttle 6 to 12 inches and be very significant left to right or right to left as An Se-young challenges this. I think this is a wasted challenge. I saw that as out.
Yep, very clearly so.
Unsuccessful.
But it's mid-flight. It's moving in the air as it comes towards you, and that's making things a little bit more difficult to time.
This is a massive arena, by the way, and it's quite steep. sure even things like that make a difference.
Yeah, the volume of air. I mean, I've been very lucky enough to hit on the main courts at certain events, and I remember the first time I did an exhibition thing during the All England, just before play started one morning, and I was knocking up with my partner. He sort of lifted the shuttle up in the air just to get a knock-up going. I had an air shot and didn't even hit the shuttle.
Oh.
It was that weird, because it just seems to hang in the air, and then you've got the lights and so much space above you. It's a very bizarre feeling when you're used to playing in smaller halls and venues.
That's why it's so key to try and get a little bit of time in these halls. But even that can change.
These players, especially An Se-young, though, will be a lot more used to that than many, because they have to travel the world and play in these big arenas. You look at the Super 1000 venues.
5-8.
Indonesia, Malaysia, All England, and the China Open. They're huge. They're just like this. They're huge venues.
Massive, yeah. Of course, this was the venue of An Se-young's crowning achievement last year, Bobby, about a year ago.
Service over, 9,
at the Olympics,
5.
which obviously a personal milestone for her, and also so important for her afterwards, what happened as well, where she really came out and was very outspoken about things. And it's been an interesting year. She's come through a lot of adversity since then to really put on a fantastic 2025 for us.
Yeah, she has. She's had some difficulties with the Federation, which they've overcome, and she's made some really wise and sort of, what's the word? The decisions with her corporate deals and her sponsorships to stay with Yonex when Li Ning, I think it was offering her millions, somewhere near £10 million for a 4-year deal or something like that. And she's thinking about the longevity of her career, and yeah, she's in a good place. You can tell that sort of decision puts her in a good place.
11-5 interval.
She's in a very good place right now on court as well.
She is indeed, with a very decent lead here against Yu Jin. She's in control of things, looking comfortable. An Se-young 11-5 against Yu Jin.
Court 2, 20 seconds. Court 2, 20 seconds. Play.
Now, Bobby, here's the question that I'm going to ask that probably every player that ever comes up against An Se-young would, want to know the answer to. But what can one do? What does one try to do against an An Se-young? What to try and get something from her?
Well, you need to be as consistent and as quality of player with ultimate footwork, and as somebody like a Chen Yufei or a Wang Zhiyi, anything less than that, if An Se-young's playing well, won't be good enough, because An Se-young doesn't have any weaknesses. Terrific in defense, one of the best defenders in the world, and awesome in attack. Her footwork is next level. She's so balanced, so poised, so quick off the mark. Her racket skills are brilliant. If she wanted to, she could be playing sort of trick shots and double actions almost every rally. She's hard to break down. When you think you've got on top of her, a bit like playing Yamaguchi, it comes back, she'll dive, it'll come back. And then she works very hard physically to get back into the rally, and your opponent's left thinking, how on earth do I beat this woman? And try something a little bit too unorthodox, a bit out of the comfort zone, and makes a mistake, and it's just very, very difficult. Her overhead technique on the forehand side is actually not particularly textbook. I've never really liked it, An Se-young, which is odd, because she's got so much quality.
That's good stuff there from Yu Jin.
Service over. 6-14.
Yeah, struggling slightly to get a length, I think. And Se-young, it was a good shot, don't get me wrong, but it might be that An Se-young decided to start the match on the faster end. She got the drift with her, which makes things a bit more difficult, because she was very definite about, lovely shot, about which end she wanted to start the match on. And
that's played right into her hands, maybe.
She's not necessarily a player that needs to make sure she gets a good start.
Right. I'd quite like to have seen peak Tai Tzu-Ying versus peak An Se-young.
16-6.
Well, that would have been quite interesting.
Yeah, similarly, Marin.
On Marin, yeah.
And even Intanon at her best a few years back would have been a good game. That's the sort of defence. That's a perfect example. That shot would have beaten most players in the world. And Se-young just gets there, and also with enough quality to force Yu Jin to have to go for a line. What a start to this match.
You're spot on there, Bobby, because 9 players out of 10 probably wouldn't have got to that. There was a match in 2023, the quarterfinals of the Korea Open, where Sim got 7 and 6. And at least in this game could happen still, because she is just racking up these points here.
18.
And I know we saw the head-to-head at the beginning of the match, and I know Yu Jin has beaten An Se-young, but we're going back all the way to 2018 for that. An Se-young was 15 years old.
And then won the same year anyway.
Yeah, and Yu Jin's 3 years older, so an 18-year-old playing a 15-year-old at the time. And the scores were quite close, 17 and 18. That's not a bad effort from An Se-young as a 15-year-old.
18.
But because you've got almost a senior playing a mid-teens player, we can sort of ignore that, really.
What was interesting was just a week later she beat her.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the learning curve to come back and win 23-21. Yeah, like you say, just the following week, there's another tournament in Europe.
Shows, doesn't it?
Yeah, just how quick a study An Se-young is.
And there's the prospect, there's a rare winner for Yu Jin. There's also the prospect, the very tasty prospect of Chen Yufei playing here in the semi-finals.
There is. An Se-young was there then, you know. I wonder whether, with the score being so one-sided, there are certain shots, a bit like that, the sort of deep lunge on the right side, especially with that black strapping on her right thigh, whether she's just protecting herself a little bit there. She doesn't need to put herself at risk of injury.
Service over. 19-9.
Oof, got that one all wrong.
Service over. 10-19.
Yeah, just going back to your points, that's probably the match in the women's singles that I've been wanting to watch again. The matchup with Chen Yufei, which, if An Se-young wins this and Chen Yufei beats Cho Choo-won, that will be the semi-final tomorrow.
Service over. 20, game point, 10.
Kana Yamaguchi looking for her 3rd world champs. Got a great chance there.
Yeah, it's already a 5th medal at the World Championships.
Yes.
It's incredible for Yamaguchi.
Ten game points here for
Game.
An Se-young. She converts quickly.
First
And that was a
game won by
very,
An
very
Se-young,
comfortable opening game for her.
21-10.
Yeah, 15 minutes, and An Se-young in brilliant form. It reminds me a little bit of the Yamaguchi match earlier, where she didn't actually have to do all that much.
Right.
Just keep solid, do her thing. And we haven't really seen the epic long rallies where potentially An Se-young is in a bit of danger. Those where Sim Yu Jin has genuinely won the rally. An Se-young's almost not put up a fight because they are so few and far between.
Coming up, John and Christie in the men's singles. That's a very tasty one, isn't it, Bobby? Against Kundavat Vititsan next.
Court 2, 20 seconds.
I thought they were hitting with each other in warm-up courts for a moment. Then
I
thought that was going to be a surprise. That never happens. That is a good. It's a great lineup. It's a big head-to-head. We can get into that when we do the match.
Second game.
But yeah, that's going to be a brilliant watch.
Play.
Well, let's hope it's a bit more of a brilliant watch in the second game here. Sim Yu Jin completely outplayed by her compatriots. That is getting challenged. Looked into me initially.
Very early challenge again. An Se-young called one earlier. That was quite far out. But at least this one is on her own side. She's not challenging the opponent's far back line, which is typically unsuccessful.
Challenge unsuccessful.
And it proves to be in.
One challenge remaining. Service over. 1-love. Play.
I wonder whether it's a mental thing, as in I don't want to be behind in the game, even if it's only 1-love at the very start.
Is that the level of perfection that she seeks?
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe when you're trailing, there's a slightly different pressure. Even if it is only love all and it's just the first point.
It's always interesting to see a challenge that early on. Well, like it or not, Sim Yu Jin is in front. Albeit very early on. First time she's had the lead in this match.
Service over. 2-all.
Oh, she was hoping that would carry. Or carry over. Got that wrong.
Picking the pace up slightly there, An Se-young.
Well long.
Struggling on that back line.
4-2.
I think if it's been hard to tell this week, it's relatively fast conditions. Anyway, we've seen players from the far side hit out the back. with sort of uncharacteristic errors. Easy lifts, for example. And when you're on the slower end, that sort of thing doesn't often happen. If Yu Jin has got the drift behind her, it is going to be difficult for her to put any pressure into An Se-young's rear corners. That was moving left. I think that might have gone out as well. It's a good rally.
Yeah, I was about to say it's about as long a rally as we've had so far.
Se-young dictating still. Brilliant.
Well, An Se-young, after winning the first game throughout her career, has an 85% win rate, which in itself is already very good. This year, Bobby, it goes up to 95%. Her longest rally is 26 shots so far. That's just how dominant a year she is having. Yu Jin this year, as I said, not anywhere near as impressive. I don't think anyone else can be as impressive as that.
3-7.
I was quite disappointed for An Se-young not to win the China Open, because she was looking at being the first player in history to achieve the Super 1000 Grand Slam in a single year, having won Indonesia, Malaysia and the All England, and lost out to Jin Yufei in the quarters, or was it Wang Zhiyi?
Wang Zhiyi, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right, in the final. And I didn't realise this, but it was Wang Zhiyi in all 4 of those finals. So Wang Zhiyi was also on. She didn't know it, and of course, having lost in Malaysia in January, that thought's never going to enter your mind because you've not won the first one. But
she had the opportunity too. Yeah. And also, don't forget, Kim and Seo were also on it, and also they stumbled in China.
Great defence from An Se-young. And again, difficult positions to be in, stretching, and still finds decent quality, good net shots and a great length. That's just wide.
Yu Jin in her career,
9-3.
after losing the first game, goes on to win about 48%. But this year, that drops to 33% of her matches after she loses the first game. So that's really tough.
Yeah, behind you, behind you.
I think
Yeah.
I think that stat might only be relevant if you compare matches with An Se-young.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Because
9-3.
That's a whole other category, isn't it?
yeah, playing early round matches at Super 100s and 300s, or even lower level tournaments. Especially when there's drift involved, so that might mean you start on the bad side of the court, and it's harder to win the first. But when you're playing somebody with the quality of An Se-young, I don't think she'll be thinking about how comfortable she is, or may not be, after losing the first.
Well, look at this. I mean, it's an even bigger lead in the second game than she had in the first. 8 points in front here. An Se-young, 11-3, having won the first game very, very comfortably. She looks well on her way to getting to the semi-finals tomorrow.
Court 2, 20 seconds. Court 2, 20 seconds. (11-3), play. Yu Jin challenges called out.
So a challenge straight off the interval from Yu Jin. She needs something to go away. No.
Challenge unsuccessful. One challenge remaining. 12-3. Play. Three.
Accruing these points comfortably, Eun Soo-young.
Does feel like a bit of a mismatch, doesn't it? We were talking about it in the interval. Almost feels like an early round matchup. Yu Jin had a pretty good draw Tungjung yesterday in the round of 16, and perhaps not the most accomplished performance from Tungjung.
15-3.
This is almost over. Going to be out.
Service over. 4.
Even then, she looks disappointed with herself. Eun Soo-young, such a dominant position.
Oh, that's lovely. Just a wave
Service over.
of 16, the wand.
4.
Well, Yu Jin has at least avoided the ignominy of her lowest ever aggregate points total against Eun Soo-young. She got only 13 against her in 2023. That's good. Yeah, you heard the frustration there from Sim.
17.
Well, she's got that wrong again. It's hard enough playing the best player on the planet. And when you add in unforced errors, just not helping your cause. This time it does go long.
Service over. 5-18.
Very good crowd in here, I must say, with no French players on display. I'm sure they'll appreciate the kind of badminton
19-5.
we're seeing from Eun Soo-young. Flawless, almost.
Yeah, it's been a very dominant performance. That's a better rally.
Service over. 6-19.
She's had a fair share of injuries. You were talking about perhaps moving to the side. This side, especially on the right side, might be a concern, perhaps. And she's also had worries in the past about having to play through the pain, through injury, or forced to play. That's what she was saying, wasn't she?
Nice. Yeah, it's that's a tricky thing
Service over.
when
20.
there are times when you feel you need a bit of a break
6.
for any reason. It doesn't need to be physical, it might be mental, but she's been just superb today.
14 match points. Answer Young.
Game.
All done. There you go. That is about as straightforward as it comes. Answer Young with a clinical performance here in the quarterfinals. Delight for her. Not really much more to say about this, Bobby, apart from how superb she was.
Yeah, and it's a very businesslike performance from Answer Young. I mean, how many times really was she at the end of a superb rally and smashing it on the floor? She didn't need to today.
No.
She was so playing at such a higher level than her opponents that that it was almost a formality for the reigning world champion.
Into her third semi-final at the World Championships in a row. Answer Young, the top seed from Korea. She beats compatriot Yu Jin, a 12th seed. 21-10, 21-6 in just half an hour. Well, are we going to have as one side of the match? I'm not so sure. In the men's singles, that's up next. Jonathan Christie of Indonesia versus the defending men's champion, Kunlavut Vitinsan. Paris in the summer is really a sight to behold, as is Answer Young's victory against Yu Jin. A very, very comfortable win for her. What will it be like in the men's singles? Jonathan Christie, the 5th seed from Indonesia, takes on the defending world champion, 13